like coming back to your podcast with an extremely warm welcome after all this time. So are the games of our lives. And I definitely prepared a nice intro for everyone. And these are the games of our lives. Super Mario and Pokemon and all the games that took us to another place and made us want to keep playing all night. These are the games of our lives.
Welcome, everybody, to the Games of Our Lives podcast. My name is Bill the Fajita, joined once again by the handsome, the wonderful, the brilliant, the writer of the theme song of this podcast, former daily co-host, current today's co-host. We've got Tony back in the building.
Konnichiwa.
Tony, I know it's been a little bit since you were on the show. I'm glad they finally got you out of that cave. You were trapped for a long time. We were nervous. There was a whole news story. If you didn't see it, do you live under a rock? What, do you live under a rock? Too soon. I mean, because Tony did for about a year or so. You hate to see it.
Comes with the territory. You get too famous from a podcast, they're gonna come scoop you up.
Tale as old as time, really. But Tony, we are going to be talking about one of our favorite video games today. One of the games of our lives, perhaps. What game is that?
Mario Kart Double Dash for Nintendo GameCube.
I have so many good memories tied to this game, and can't wait to dive into it. But before we dive in, we got to do something that every good podcast does, obviously, and that is cover a little bit of news. Just a little bit of news.
News? They're going to say ask people to subscribe to us.
Oh, hey guys, if you want to subscribe to us and leave us maybe
No, don't do it. Don't do it.
Oh,
No. We'll just do news. We'll just do news.
Okay, news. Don't subscribe to it. All right, so a couple of news items today. One, there was a tweet that was put out by a Matt Piscatella. Shout out to a single T Matt. You'll love to see a single T Matt in the universe. But Switch lifetime sales are just behind the PS2 by 1.1 million units, which is pretty insane considering the PS2 is the, I believe, current number one title holder for most home console units sold. Tony, did you have a PS2?
No, I did not. I have one now, but growing up, too many goddamn buttons on the thing. You know, I couldn't. There's the R, L, and the 1, and
the second joystick. Ooh.
Even the GameCube stuff messed me up forever because it's always, all right, how can I do this with your little camera looking at me? So A is on the bottom, and then if you're holding it to the top right above the A should be the B, and then above that should be the Y, and then drop it down to the left should be the X, right? I think that's the way Xbox is set up. I always thought, Nintendo was like that too, but they have it all ass backwards where the B's on the bottom. So now you bring in the PlayStation, you got the X is on the goddamn bottom instead of the left. It's just, I missed 1,000 good games because I don't know how to read, basically.
Yeah, that is, I think, the funniest thing about the big three and their controllers is they have the X button in a different location on each controller, which feels like it should be punishable by law. I don't know who deserves the punishment the most, because Nintendo started the X at the top situation, and then Sony put it on the bottom like a bunch of gabagools. And then Xbox is like, why not put it to the left? Silly little guys.
That is the quintessential Xbox voice. They're always just
why don't we call it the Kinect and we run around and people will see it? Why don't we buy all the game companies and then tank our stocks and make gaming dead in the year of our Lord 2024?
Oh.
We'll get them with Game Pass.
Oh, they're trying. Bless them.
Uh,
They're not doing great, but they're trying.
I don't know what they're trying, but they're trying my patience. That's for sure. So, listen, I hope that the Switch does pass the PS2 eventually. I think it will. 1 million Switches. You think from now until the end of time, which is in like 3 years, we'll get like 1 million more Switches sold?
A
Probably.
million's a lot. How do you have the number for total units sold for each of them?
Let's just say magic number 200 million.
Okay, okay.
So, I,
I think it's doable.
it's
I mean,
oh,
to me, a million's a lot. Like how many? It's been out for what, like 8 years. A
yeah.
million people are still gonna buy Switches, but I guess they keep making different models and stuff, and they'll probably keep doing that until. Sorry for this friggin' light. Um, they'll probably keep doing that until the new Switch comes out, right? So yeah,
I
it's
mean,
possible. It's
I mean,
possible. I hope so.
listen, we probably got another year or so till the Switch 2 drops. I feel like summer 25 feels like a vibe here, because the reports do say that Switch 2 probably won't be out until after April of 2025, which I think, I would it shock me if it was like a holiday release for next year? It would. It wouldn't. It feels like on the something on the horizon there. Not not clamoring for the Switch 2. Like, I can't wait for it, but there's a lot on the menu between now and then, you know.
Agree. Yeah, big agree. I always, for a long time, I said the Switch is one of the best consoles ever. It's still up there for me, but I think I'm starting to really think that like the retro stuff is probably the best. Honestly, like Super Nintendo, PS2, Genesis. I think the games. It was such a not like we have technology. I don't need to go on a whole tangent on the news here.
Do it.
Welcome back,
Tangent
right?
off. Tangent off.
Oh, sumimasen. It's I know the technology is a lot crazier now, and people have all these wild ideas for crazier things. But it seemed like back then it was like a new, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a whole new wide land of just exploration, and like all these crazy game ideas came out. It was just like the beginning of everyone be. It was like Atari, like all right, we're trying, but it's kind of shit. And then at some point it just like golden age of video gaming, and now it's like unbelievable like how crazy things are. But I think then just the concepts of like Mario 3 for like Nintendo, or like all the crazy amazing games for Nintendo and Genesis and PS1, PS2. I think that's kind of like untouched in my head. So as much as I like Switch for all the iterations of my favorite N64 games and stuff, like I think the hardware is still not that crazy. I think some of the stuff is lackluster, but if it passes out the PS2, then probably rightfully so. I think it's a really good system.
It's a
There
great
you go.
system. I no notes. That was beautiful. That was perfect. Um, Now a couple other pieces of news before we jump into the big shebang here. Uh, So, have you heard of Limited Run Games?
Hi.
So, Limited Run Games, they're porting a game to the Switch with a physical edition. They're porting a Nintendo 64 legend, Glover, to the Nintendo Switch. Not the game that we wanted, but the game we deserve. This is a two-parter. One, have you played Glover?
Yes, I have.
Two, uh, what retro game do you think deserves a limited run re-release for the Switch? You could pick one game.
Any retro game?
Yeah, yeah. You know what? I don't even care what console it's for. Just any retro game be re-released on the Switch with a copy.
Oh, that's so tough. Wow, that's really tough. I have one in mind, but
Yeah.
I really don't like limited run games.
don't either.
Yeah, I think it's just, nice we
A
have a
little
license to make
predatory.
official. Yeah, right. It's just we can make these and we will, but yeah, they're gonna be like super rare games like that company, or it's just more expensive. Like I don't know, it's just not easily accessible to everyone, and I hate that fight. Like I don't know. I
You
have a
don't
few
like
reasons not
racing
to digress.
robots online to get your pre-release order in?
I do, but I think there's more to it, but I think the long and short of it is if I had to pick, I would love it to be Earthbound, but I would never want that to be a game that Limited Run like has the rights to make. I would love Nintendo to be like, we're putting Earthbound out as a re-release or like a collection of Mother 1, 2, and 3. That'd be like
Ooh,
insane.
that'd be absolutely bonkers. I fully agree. By the way, I think that would be a crazy, crazy pick. Um, Earthbound. Let's be real. It's a banger series. If Limited Run came out tomorrow and said, by the way, we're dropping the localized Mother 3, I think the world would like explode. I think that would be insane. Myself included, because I think that's crazy. Um, but what a good pick. I was gonna say Diddy Kong Racing.
Ooh, but see, you have the DS re-release, and that's just as good. It's not
It's not
anywhere
as
close as good. It's
good. Come on.
horrible. It's
Are you kidding me? I
horrible.
have to like blow in like to get your boost in the beginning for like the DS. If you're riding the hovercraft, you have to like blow into the microphone for the freaking 3DS in order to get your like pre-race boost. And like I don't need to spit into my system in order to go fast. That's crazy talk.
It's it's kind of hot, but yeah, it's a little crazy too for when I'm trying to just be,
Like I hate racing.
timber.
Listen, I try racing in public sometimes, and I just it it kills my soul when people are watching me blow on my Nintendo 3DS and going like and then using the stick to like spin the propeller or like
Hmm.
swiping
Hmm.
at the tire. But like that is why if they somehow put an LRG re-release of Diddy Kong Racing, the one thing I like about the limited run thing, and I think they'll probably do this with Glover. Like Glover, you're probably gonna get like a little glove plush. A Glover plush would be a lot of fun. Uh, Now, if there was like an exclusive item to be released with your hypothetical Earthbound, um, what would you, what item would you like to be part of that like limited run release? Like you're gonna get a physical copy plus like a little some sort of tchotchke type item.
That's one of my favorite words, tchotchke. Um, ooh, that's so tough. That's so tough. Maybe like Mr. Saturn plush.
Ooh, I mean that feels free. That feels free.
There are a few that come to mind, but that's if I think of a better one by the time we wrap this bitch up, I'll let you know. Am I allowed to cuss? I
You
don't
know
know
what?
what the
We've been. Have you ever held back the cussing from day one though?
a little bit.
A little
A
bit.
little
Well,
bit.
listen. If a frick, a heck, or a shoot slip out, then what are you gonna do? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, what are you gonna do? It happens to the best of us.
Good to know.
Dag nabbit, you know? Oh man. So, ooh, a Franklin badge pin would be very cool. How about just a whole badge,
Ooh,
or like a like an iron-on patch would be very fun.
that'd be sick. What would you do for Diddy Kong? Would you do an entire life-size hoverboard?
I hope they would just send like one overripe banana with it. Like, I think that would be great because you got to collect bananas to go fast. So the more potassium you have in, you'll be good. By the time Limited Run releases the game, though, 2 years down the road, the banana might not still be a banana, unfortunately.
Mm.
So, but like, the commitment to the bit would be great.
What if
think
it was just a plushie of Raj? Is that his name? The elephant that's like
a
ah! At the beginning?
you have Taj the elephant.
Taj.
Taj, even like I think a Timber plush would like low key go hard, because I feel like we don't have a Timber plush.
Dude, Timber was one and done, man. He was like, you're in the game, and
It was his
little
island.
mouse. It actually is his game. Yeah, they were like, you gotta go. We gave you a shot, and you're all set.
Nintendo stepped in, was like, listen, this rascally little tiger he's not him. He doesn't have that aura. Let's pop Diddy Kong in, and then you'll be fine, because Diddy is a hard carry type situation here, and I think Timber deserves a little love. So let's get a Timber plush with our Diddy Kong Racing limited run game that's hypothetically coming out.
Do you have a favorite character in Diddy Kong? This is about Mario Kart.
Yeah, we will be talking about Mario Kart eventually.
You know what it is, though.
My favorite character in Diddy Kong Racing, as much as I hate to say it, because it's so basic, but I love racing as Diddy. He just feels the best to me. I know he's not like the tier list champion. Like, he's no Drumstick, all right? He's no TT. Oof. But do you have a favorite racer in Diddy Kong?
Maybe TT or Timber, I would say. Also, for the record, we probably said this in the Diddy Kong racing episode, but I've played so much Mario Kart in my life, and I was so proud when I was like 21, maybe like 21, 23 years old. Yeah. I went back and played Diddy Kong Racing and beat it all the way through the Whiz-Pig final fight, everything. So angry, put me in a dark place, finally beat it, everything nice. You and I played, you spanked me like a little bitch. I had no chance against you, and I didn't even understand that someone could be so much better than someone else at that game. You are the Diddy Kong champion, so yeah.
I played a lot of Diddy. I didn't have Mario Kart 64 as a kid. Oh. I only had Diddy Kong Racing. So the only times I played Mario Kart 64 was like at friend's house. I'd have to walk over to 2nd Avenue and hang out with some randoms, shenanigans.
Wow.
So there's your explanation on.
Thank you. Yeah, well, you're a god at that game, so tip of the hat to that.
Thank you. You're not so bad yourself, trust me. But I think it's let's just move on to the last piece of news.
Yeah,
this one's important. This one's important. This one, listen, we're talking about the OG video game. We're talking about chess, which requires no electronics whatsoever. In the game of chess, a player was suspended by the Russian Federation for poisoning their opponent with mercury. They're going to be facing possible jail time, some other shenanigans. The gaming, like, what do you think the perfect crime is?
Getting me to agree to do video on the podcast and then spewing things at me that are going to get me to lose control and break out in hysterical laughing. What? I mean, are we talking about like the presidential election? Are we talking about? I mean, is this games, or are we talking Magnus Carlsen? Yeah, he's great. They're all the grandmasters and the rooks and the moving, and I watched a video of how Pokemon is more complex than chess, because I always thought, truly deep down in my heart, that chess was the least flawed, most perfect game, that only the best, most intelligent people could remember all the lines for every scenario and get good, if you will. Yeah. But then I watched a Wolfie video about Wolf Glick one of the best
Yeah.
Pokemon players of all time, said that Pokemon is more complex than chess. So fuck chess. I agree with him. He's right. There are
Yeah.
so many scenarios in every option and so many variables. So yeah, if you want to go drink the Tide Pods or do whatever to try to get a dub in a fucking cardboard cutout game or whatever it is, that's you. It's, you shouldn't even be playing the game in the
What-
first place, right? I mean, that's
Maybe my question, I'm gonna change my question from what's the perfect crime here. What would be like the locals equivalent to mercury poisoning someone on like a grand stage? Like you go to like your local card shop and it's just like an Edison Wednesday, and what what is the what is the like the equivalent of trying to mercury poison an opponent at a local?
um someone probably dresses up, or okay, they hire a prostitute to dress up like dark magician girl and just show maximum cleavage to the opponent, which really has no effect on me because I'm built better than that. That stuff doesn't really
Yeah.
phase me. But for the average like Yu-Gi-Oh weeb, that would probably have them shooting everywhere. They'd have to go to the bathroom. The judge would get called. My opponent's not sitting across from me. They got up and left for some reason. The
Excessive
judge
sweat.
obviously would also be in the bathroom because they'd be nutting all over the place too. It would be a goddamn nightmare for everybody, honestly. Might as well just take the first place prize and give your half to the whore or whatever. No, I'm just kidding. This is getting
God.
too messed
We're
up.
off the
Everyone's
rails.
nice. We're just gaming. We're just gaming.
That's fair. Well, I don't know what my perfect crime would be in like a Magic the Gathering set. Oh, here's the perfect crime. Lying about proxies. Just be like, these these like $200 cards. They're mine. I own them. They're actually just proxies. But
That's kind of messed up, dude. It's way worse than mine.
way worse than yours.
What do we got? A little kitty cat back there?
We got a
Neko?
little kitty cat playing with some lights back there. Just goose, being a little guy. Being a little guy. That's it for the news, by the way. I'm done with the news. I'm over it. We don't need any more news in our lives. We do need a little Mario Kart. Marius Carius. Double Darius. Welcome to Mario Kart.
Woo! There it is.
Mario Kart Double Dash came out for the GameCube back in 2003. Some would say it is maybe the greatest Mario Kart title of all time, and I am some people. Tony, what's this Mario Kart Double Dash all about? Like, what makes it different than other Mario Kart?
Take all the crazy action of the celebrated Mario Kart series and multiply it by 2. In Mario Kart Double Dash, each car holds 2 racers that can switch places at any time. So choose from a huge cast of favorites and pair them up any way that you see fit.
Ooh, so you're saying you get to ride not one, but 2 characters?
Bill, 2 of them, dude.
You can ride as Mario and Mario. That's crazy.
No, okay, actually.
Oh no.
They have to be okay.
Restrictions? Restrictions?
Oh yeah, right here. Yeah, an asterisk. Yeah, players cannot pick the same character to ride. There are no doppelganging effects and such, and you could see it.
Game's actually terrible. Never mind. Scrap it.
I don't even know why you picked it.
Whole episode done.
Can we just do a good Pokemon episode? Can we just go back to the good old days?
All right, let's. We're just gonna jump to Gen 5. Let's go.
Maybe we could pick like a different gen though that I like more.
Like a good one, yeah.
Sorry. No, 5 is good.
5's fine. They just erased a lot of my favorite Pokemon. That's fine. They're like, oh, we're gonna introduce min-maxing mix with stats. Okay, fine. All of your even stat Pokemon from Gen 1 can go, cry in a corner. You don't need Machamp. Enjoy Conkeldurr. Battle that I'll fight until the day I die.
So, need people like you.
Mario Kart Double Dash is a video game, and I think that is the most important aspect of Mario Kart video game. And let me tell you, it's one of my favorite games. It came out during that peak age. I was 12 when it dropped or something like that. So like being in that like 12 to 15 age bracket when a game comes out usually makes it kind of one of your formative video games typically. I played this game probably every day for a 3 or 4 year window. To the point where I actually went and traveled to New York one winter to compete in a Mario Kart Double Dash tournament at the Nintendo store. And that is when I learned the biggest problem that Mario Kart Double Dash has. And we kind of talked about it already. It's that you can't pick the same characters in multiplayer. There's a list of like 20 characters, and each character, just to dive in a little, has their own unique items. So in every other Mario Kart in the universe, when you're playing Mario Kart, everybody has access to the same pool of items. However, when you're racing in Mario Kart Double Dash, each character gets a special item that only they can get, and some of them are great, and some of them are a triple green shell. Like it's absolutely bonkers. I will say the roster for this game is really good. You've got your classic Mario, Luigi, Peach, Daisy. We got Toad and Toadette's hanging out. We got the Wario, the Waluigi. We got Bowser and Baby Bowser, Donkey Kong and Baby Donkey Kong, also known as Diddy Kong. And then they snuck in a couple of little Stinky Pete's. We got King Boo and Petey Piranha.
No. Yoshka? Could we get a Yoshka in there?
A little Yosh, a little Birdosh in there. And
Thank you.
Am I missing anybody? Maybe the baby boys. Some baby boys are
babies.
in there.
Stay in there.
So Tony, given that each character has their own special items, did you have like a favorite special item between these characters?
I really, there are certain games where I feel the need to try to do what's most meta relevant and try to stick, to stuff that I like, but also I know that isn't like tier like D where it's just like an uphill battle the whole time.
Right.
Mario Kart in all of its iterations is probably the only series where I will always pick Yoshi no matter what, even if he's like the worst. Mario Kart 8, Deluxe, 64, he's great in 64, but like Double Dash, Yoshi's just not that great, but we're riding out here.
Well, now
Y'all know what time it is.
What's Yoshi's special ability?
He throws out a big egg, I think,
Mm-hmm.
and it locks on to the person in front of you.
It's kind of like a red shell.
Is it? Yeah.
It's got like red shell properties, I would say. But what happens after that egg makes contact?
I think it goes like spaghetti and like a bunch of confetti or like it goes weenie pops out or something.
Got him, spooked him. So
or it leaves some items on the board. Maybe
it leaves some items on the thing. Could be like I think sometimes it leaves like a shell, but sometimes or a banana, but also it could leave like a mushroom or a star or something like that.
Ooh, yes.
Now Yoshi is one of your like go-to guys, but this is Mario Kart Double Dash, so you gotta have like a number 2 rolling with Yoshka. Who's Yoshi riding with? Who's his ride or die in your heart?
Actually, Petey Piranha.
Okay, and Petey Piranha is great because Petey Piranha and King Boo are unique racers, in that they don't have their own special item, but they have access to everybody's special items, which is definitely a very good thing. Because some of these special items, like a Yoshi egg, is okay. A Bob-omb, which is just a basic item in today's Mario Kart, was Wario and Waluigi's special item. Kinda mid. Now, my go-to combo, I don't know if this is like I feel like in early Mario Kart, the little guys were always just kind of the over the big guys. And listen, Mario Kart 64 had me picking Toad like it was my job. So like Toad was my main in Mario Kart 64. So I'm like, Toad is gonna be my main in Double Dash. But I also paired him with a nice little Bowser Jr. type beat, because Toad's item is the golden mushroom, which allows you to just spam boost for like 10 seconds. And then the cool thing about Bowser Jr. is they have this like Bowser shell that acts just like a green shell, but it's basically the width of the entire track. And you could just send it out and be like, haha, enjoy that one, bozos. Because Mario Kart, I would say Mario Kart Double Dash was one of the last Mario Karts that really had pretty narrow racetracks. I feel like moving forward, the tracks got much wider. And you see that a lot, especially in like Mario Kart Double Dash, where the tracks are just incredibly wide. So something like a Bowser shell wouldn't have as big of an impact.
Wait, in which Mario Kart? I'm sorry, you said in Double Dash they're very wide.
So in Double Dash they're not super wide. I feel like the tracks
Oh,
aren't near,
okay.
like, whereas like in Mario Kart Wii and then Mario Kart 8, the tracks are
Gotcha,
much
gotcha.
wider to accommodate like the type of controls the game has. And like I'm
Yeah.
thinking of levels like the Bowser's Castle level in Double Dash. There's a lot of like narrow corridors, stuff like that. So the Bowser shell really feels powerful there, but I can see why it wouldn't work in other versions of Mario Kart. Now this Mario Kart, in traditional Mario Kart fashion leading up to this point, came with 16 tracks in 4 cups. Now, some of these tracks are absolutely incredible. Tony, do you have a favorite track from Mario Kart Double Dash?
Ooh. Dino track.
Ooh, Dino Jungle
And
is very fun.
yeah, that or Wario Coliseum. I think those two are just great,
I
great tracks.
I think, man, I really think that Special Cup in general, it might be one of the best 4-packs of courses in Mario Kart history. Wario Coliseum, which is in Wario Stadium fashion, is the longest track in the game by far. However, it only has 2 laps. And you got Dino Jungle, which has a giant like Brontosaurus stomping around, but he's friendly, so it's like okay. But really has like some really tricky track driving. There's a lot of like branching paths, very narrow paths too. You also get Bowser's Castle in there, which is an iconic level in every Mario Kart. And then you finish out with Rainbow Road. So I mean, it's a great cup. There's also you got DK Mountain, which I think is a Mario Kart staple at this point in time. Yoshi Circuit, which I think is just it's one of the GOATs. Let's be real. I feel like Daisy Cruiser is another one people absolutely love. And then, of course, Baby Park. Who could forget the nightmare, the terrible tragedy that is Baby Park?
Horrible, horrible, horrible.
I'll say it's better and makes more sense in this version than it does in like Mario Kart 8, because again, the track is much more narrow and there's a lot more chaos happening in the GameCube version of this track. I feel like you can kind of front run in the new game and be a little bit more safe. Whereas in Baby Park for the GameCube, you're not going to see that Bowser shell just rip around the corner and get you. Especially since the middle area, I think, was open. So, like, stuff would just happen haphazardly. Ouchie. Ouchie.
Yeah, awful course, in my opinion. Terrible course. 7 laps. You could make it 100 laps and it'd be bad still.
Honestly, I wish they made it 2 laps. It'd be great. Wouldn't overstay its welcome. We'd be just fine. It'd be perfect. And I will say, I do like what they did. They added in the All Cup tour in this game, which let you play all. It was like a Grand Prix that let you play all 16 tracks in one sitting, which, you know, for those people who want to marathon the game, yeah, it's a pretty fun idea. It's a big commitment. You know, it's almost like that Rock Band mode. It was like infinite set list or something where you have to play the entire set list without pausing the game. I think it was like Rock Band 2. You get an achievement for just playing through every song in the catalog without like pausing, which is insanity.
That's a lot. What is the achievement called? You're a virgin?
I think it's touch grass. Gotta be, right?
Your parents are happy that you know some songs from the 80s, but really not that proud at the end of the day.
Are you sure there isn't someone you need to talk to? It actually just, like, when you get the achievement, it's just a phone number for therapy.
Use our code to get 5% off.
It's betterhelp.com. Not a sponsor.
Thanks, Microsoft.
The other mode that's in all Mario Karts, and perhaps some would argue the more important mode, is battle mode in Mario Kart. Listen, battle mode is pretty cool because you can use all those items and you could throw them at your friends and family and become king of the ring. And listen, I'm not saying that this battle mode is necessarily the best battle mode. Let's be real. Can we agree? Just hands down, the best battle mode in Mario Kart history belongs to Mario Kart 64.
Definitely.
Block Fort is untouchable. Block Fort is like one of those just like goated arenas in gaming history. Like you have Ivory Tower in Halo, or Blood Gulch even. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You've got Block Fortress in Mario Kart 64. Like it's so good. So good. In this version of battle mode, you've got Cookie Land, which is just a little circle. It's fine. You've got Block City. They tried to capitalize on this Block Fortress, but made just like a completely flat situation, which I don't know. You also had a level where you drove around on top of a Nintendo GameCube, just a big square arena. I mean, visuals great, but you're just in a big square. No walls, no nothings. I will say the unlockable courses were a little more interesting. There were 2 unlockable battle courses. You had the Luigi's Mansion battle course, which had like a bunch of like branching pathways and had a little bit more like you could play some hide and seek action. And then you had Tilt-A-Kart, which you were driving around on like an 8-bit Mario that would like tilt and move, and the item boxes would kind of fall all over the place, and you could like fall off the edge. It was a little more chaotic, I would say, but fun. I will say, I think the fun thing they added to this one, I believe this is the one where you could have like the Bob-omb battles with each other in battle mode, where it's like you have your classic balloon battle where, you know, last person to get hit 3 times by items wins. They also had the Bob-omb Blast, where it's like you had like 5 health or something, and then once you ran out of health, it was over for you, and you could either throw bombs forward or backward. I think that was a lot of fun. And then they also introduced Shine Thief, where it's kind of like a keep away. You hold on to the shine sprite, and if you get hit, you lose it type situation. Nothing beats Mario Kart 60. Oh,
Always the best in my heart. Not like I really played the battle modes that much, but I my favorite Mario Kart is 64, and you always said Double Dash was your favorite, and that was just one game I didn't have growing up on the GameCube. I probably rented it. I didn't think too much of it back then, but
right.
then probably within the past year, I want to say, I said, "Let me. How is there a GameCube game, a Mario Kart game that I really don't know anything about. One of my favorite series of all time, in a GameCube version that I'm kind of unfamiliar with. I need to play through this." And I did, and I get the hype. I understand why I like it so much. The maps are good, the game feels good. The idea of having both racers, like, kind of goes back to what I was saying about, like, I'm not saying GameCube is like golden era of games, but they were still trying new things that felt like very fresh and just like very like passionately made, where they're like, let's do something different this time, let's give them something new and good. And I think it's just so well done, and I played the crap out of it. I had to, come in first place every race, all 4 times in a row, make sure I got, the special cart at the end. And it was a grind for like a week or two, and I really enjoyed the playthrough, and I'm happy that I did. And now 64 is still my favorite. Double Dash is probably like, you know, fourth favorite if I had to pick. But they're all like, when you're picking, nines and tens out of tens, it's like
Right.
you're splitting hairs. So yeah, just great, great game. I felt the need to say that while we're talking about it today.
So Tony and I have both played this game against each other. Actually, not last time I came home, but like around Christmas time, I want to say, I came home and we played a little Marius Carius Double Darius. Uh, and it was a
Did
lot of
we?
it was I think within the last year, I would say. Maybe in the last 2.
Did you destroy me? Is it a memory I'm trying to forget about?
You might be trying to repress it a little bit. Because I
Yeah.
think I went in
So,
being like, I haven't played this game in 10 years. I don't remember anything.
oh, yeah, that
And
sounds
then
like a
I
little
was really
coy
mean
thing.
about it.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, that sounds, yeah, that, yeah, really.
yeah, I was a real big jerk, I think, was how I did it. But let me explain why I'm good at that game. So back when I was a wee lad, I was like 14. This was like summer 2004. I broke my arm that summer. I fell and broke my arm, and my left arm was in a cast for the entirety of the summer. Not a great start to the summer. However, I had an addiction to video games back then, like I don't now. And I beat the entire game of Mario Kart with one hand.
I remember this story.
Yeah, so I beat the entire, like, 50, 100, 150 in mirror. I beat them all with one hand because I couldn't use the other one. Um, so like I'm pretty intimately familiar with that situation. I didn't expect that I'd be able to. I also beat Soul Calibur 2 during that summer with one hand. But to be fair, Soul Calibur 2 for the GameCube gave you access to Link, and Link could ring out opponents with like a single button combo in like 80% of matches. So you kind of
Hmm.
just spend the entire time just luring someone close, and you go hook shot, kick off the edge, got him.
Hmm.
But yeah, that, I mean, like, that's like my go-to memory of Double Dash, was that summer that I had to play it and beat it with one hand. And then like whenever I played my cousin Ron, he would get mad at me, even though I only had a one-hand handicap. He would still threaten to hit me with a stick or something.
BR.
Classic BR energy. You'll love to see it. You fear it, though. You fear it.
Sending money to the bots worldwide, man.
You already know.
Yeah, you are a bona fide stud to beat Mario Kart with one hand. Soul Calibur, I'm not going to give you that much
Yeah,
credit
no,
because
it's
I literally like beat Soul Calibur 2 on Xbox by just hitting like the Y button with Nightmare and like poking endlessly, and I was like, all right, I'm good at Soul Calibur, but Mario Kart, I yeah, that's to me that's like unbelievable to play
I,
with one hand. That's crazy.
I'm
You're kind of crazy.
I'm still so pressed that. So I think it was like the worst run tournament of all time at this Mario Kart Nintendo Store tournament. Because one, it was single elimination pools, and if you didn't get out of it was all 4-player pool, and if you didn't finish in the top 2, you got eliminated from each race.
Hmm.
So I was like given player 3, but I was also like the third person to be given the controller. So like the first player like had their controller first. So they had their characters picked before I even was able to.
Hmm.
And uh Toadette, Bowser Jr., and Diddy Kong were all selected before I even like touched a controller. So I had like no access to like my main characters, and I got a little tilted about that. And I came in third place in the race, so I got eliminated. But I was so just mad because I felt like I was just dealt a crappy hand, and the judges were just like, "All right, you lost. That's tight. Enjoy. Thanks for coming."
That is super unfortunate, and I'm sorry you had to go through that. I
That,
think I hear that story and definitely relate to Mario Kart 64 or even when Bomberman for the Switch came out, we were at PAX. Just like
yeah,
there's certain tournaments that are just run in a way where it's like, oh yeah, we're doing a tournament for this. It's just like, oh, you are, and it's or like Smash tournaments at like the video game store that never really held tournaments, and
right.
they're just like the kid would just always pick a counter to my little Mac, and then one day we had to play, and I was like, write who you're gonna be down, and then I'm gonna write who I'm gonna be down, and we're gonna pick the character that says on the paper, and that's it. And he's like, you could pick first, and I said, I'm not gonna pick first because that's not how it's gonna go down. And you know
Yeah.
what? I beat him that time because he didn't counter me,
Hell
and
yeah.
but it's when stuff like that is ran so poorly, it's so unfortunate, and then it really sits poorly with you, like, man, I should have been better, like I can't believe I'm, you know, I went to a Mario the only Mario Kart 64 tournament I ever went to was like a bunch of Mario Karts happening in the same building, all
Yeah.
different like tournaments being held at once. And I said, sure, I'll do 64. There were like 10 people or whatever it was, and then I like forget what happened. I like got a bye and like made it to semifinals and then had to beat someone and I beat them and then I'm just in the finals and I'm like, all right, this should be like easy work. Course, final map, Rainbow Road. Yeah, you could do the jump, the shortcut,
Sure.
and he kept missing it and then on the third lap he hit it and he landed right next to me and it was no excuses. I still lost. I should have outraced him, but just the whole single elimination, like
Oh,
no real guidelines to a tournament. Like you don't think much of it when it happens because you just want to win, but then it sits so poorly with you afterwards and really takes a long time to digest. Like, hey, that was just a pretty like poorly run tournament. Like we didn't rock paper scissors to see who gets first pick of the thing. Like they
right.
just picked all my characters and now I can't.
You're
I don't
just
know how to
juiced.
use these ass characters.
So yeah, 100%. And thank God that Mario Kart 8 lets you like overlap characters. Like you can have all 8 people or 12 people, however many are in a race these days. Pick Mario.
Thousand
Yeah, all 64
thousand
people,
Mario's.
all Mario 64 people picking Mario 64 times. But
It's a good pick.
it's a great pick. I mean, it's in the dang name. Now, do you have any last thoughts on Mario Kart Double Dash that you'd like to share with the class today?
Um, it's a stupid game. At the end of the day, no, it's a. I love it, honestly. it's it's a great addition to the series. It has such a nice uh feeling behind it. You know, not like a how you say, it felt very innovative and it felt like so much care was being put into it. There's still care being put into new games, obviously, but even though I didn't play it until recently, I still got such a nice feeling from it after you know, getting so angry the entire time. I look back on it with good memories, and
Right.
I think the maps are really good. The concept is really good in terms of just adding, you know, a nice, beautiful layer into the Mario Kart cake.
Yeah.
That is that series. I think it's really, really good, and I'm very happy that I played through it, and I think it's a 8 out of 10, maybe 8.5 out of 10 game. Great game.
It's a great game. It's, up until recently, it was my favorite Mario Kart of all time. I think 8 Deluxe with the Booster Course Pass has kind of edged it out just a touch because, you know, this, let's be real. Double Dash has 16 tracks. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe has 96 tracks. It's tough to compete. Tough to compete, you know? But my
Insane game.
it's still, special in my heart. Uh, again, like one of those games that comes out during your formative years, and I spent the majority of high school playing this game. It just very special to me, and I'm happy that it helped springboard Mario Kart into the future. And I it's just good stuff. Good stuff.
It's no Diddy Kong, but
It's
it's
yeah,
alright.
no, let's be real. Like Diddy Kong is a 9, Double Dash is an 8.9 in my heart. Um, Tip of the hat to the game, I would say.
I
Speaking
give
of
a
tip
tip
of the
to
hat, little tip of the hat wag of the finger. Hey, kitty.
it. You're gonna be on TV.
Aw, adorable.
Oh, here we go. This is my baby girl Nacho. Mm.
Aw, everybody say hi, Nacho.
Oh,
Hi, Nacho.
they all said hi. Neko wa totemo kawaii desu. Oh, they love you. Mm.
Nacho feels the love. I can see it in her eyes.
She is a wonderful little baby, and
Tip
I
of the
love
hat
her.
to Nacho.
I give a tip to my little baby girl.
I do have another tip of the hat, though.
Oh, you do?
I do. I have like an actual tip of the hat. Tip of the hat to PUBG publisher Krafton. Now, Krafton has acquired a little company from Microsoft called Tango Gameworks, and Tango Gameworks is responsible for the video game HiFi Rush, which was a 3D action beat 'em up that was a just an absolute banger. Came out about 2 years ago, but um, Microsoft announced like 6 months ago that that studio would be going under. So Crafton kind of swooped in and was like, actually, come on over here. Come, you don't have to hang out with Big Daddy Microsoft. You can hang out with us, and you won't lose your jobs, boys. So, tip of the hat to the game companies saving game companies. You'll love to see that.
That's a good one. Mine was just a cat.
I
That's
mean,
like this.
a cat is really, really good.
Yeah, but that's like the safest shit that anyone could fall back onto. I mean, crazy timing that she just came in the room not planned. She didn't know how long the episode was going to be. Neither did I. But yeah, you know, you had a really good one planned out, and yep, I got a kitty cat.
Listen, kitty cat's a good tip of the hat. Also, another tip of the hat to you, Tony, for being here today. Because let's be real, without you, the games of our lives would not be the games of our lives. So having you here means the world to me, and so happy to have you on today's episode.
Appreciate that. Appreciate you and love you like a brother. And I, um, yeah, it's I really don't know what to say. Honestly, I feel like more guilt than I do, you know, deserving of any praise or anything for being back. Thanks for having me, and I'm so happy to be back. And seeing how everyone's doing and make another episode. I know you and Maddie are doing good things over here, and you've been keeping up with it the whole time and just making more bangers. And it's so good to just jump back and feels like old times again, like
Listen,
nothing ever changed, just being a couple goofballs.
listen, never feel guilty about it. I never want you to ever feel that at all. I am just happy whenever you're able to be here and grace us with your presence.
That's not what your text said before.
Oh
You're saying
yeah,
all the
no.
opposite stuff now.
Oh yeah, sorry. Way to peel back the curtain a little bit there. Um Freaking jerk. I can't believe that you would just abandon me like that. Stab, 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 stab. There's only one
Just
thing you can say, you know, when something like this happens, though. We're going to Japan!
what? Oh, it's unbelievable. I definitely ruined the moment right there by trying to make a stupid joke, and Japan tops any joke. We are literally going to Japan, the motherland.
Little story time, mini story time. So, April 4th of 2024, Tony texts the group chat that we're in. Hey, fellas. Just booked tickets to Japan this fall. And I kid you not, earlier that day, that same exact day, unbeknownst to Tony, I had also booked tickets to Japan this fall.
It was the same day you booked them?
Like, that day you texted me like 2 hours after I booked plane ticket.
Oh, that is I didn't even know that. I mean, this is already like just so impossibly, the odds are insane, but I didn't know it was the same day too.
Same
That's even
day.
crazier. Keep going. Sorry. Holy smokes.
So I immediately text Tony. I'm like, hold on, you're going, you booked tickets to Japan? Like, when are you going? And he gave me the dates, and I was like, shut up, hold on, let me math this out. I gave him my dates, and it turns out we're both going to be in Tokyo, overlapping for like a 3 or 4 day window. The Games of Our Lives podcast is going to Japan.
A little gabagool for old Tokyo.
I man, you have no idea, like, you probably have an exact idea of how much I popped off when I learned this information, because I imagine you were also just popping off. Like,
It was just insane. Because, like, all right, the yen is weak, getting a little stronger these days, but, like, it seems like a good time to go. But my whole life, this time, it was the most viable. I've never left the country. This is a humongous deal for me. One of my best friends happened to be going. I mean, how close are we that we didn't even know that the other one was going? Right now, I'm
right.
just kidding. But just like I send that text, and I didn't want to make a big deal of it, like telling everyone, "Oh, I'm doing this, I'm setting this up," until it like actually happened. So when it did, I was like, "All right, now I could send the text, and start making something of it." So like to hear that you were going at the same time, I'm pretty sure I told you this. I almost said definitely, but like out of all the people it could have been, like there are some people that you'd be like, "Oh, we're going on a trip too. Let's hang out." And it's like, "Oh, well, yeah, we should do that," and it's just like, fuck, now we gotta dedicate some time to these people. But like, you were one of those people, like the most chill, easygoing, have a good time, easy to be around, fun person that, like, out of all my friends, the fact that it's you, like, is not only, it could have been anyone and it would have been like a 10 out of 10, but the fact that it's you, it's like in a fucking 11. Like, this is like the craziest, like, insane, gonna be the wildest, like, I can't believe, like, in your love for games consistently, the fact that the podcast exists because of our love for games, like, we're both gonna be in the motherland together. It for the first time, it's just like an absolute, like, something I'll never forget, and I'm just looking forward to every part of it, and I'm so happy that I get to experience it with you, honestly.
I mean, thank you. I think it's I, I it's so hard to say, like, put into words just like how exciting it feels. And then, knowing that, exactly like you said, like, you know, the two of us have shared history with gaming together, and the fact that we started this podcast together, and the fact that we're both going at the same time, like everything, like the fact that everything is aligning for two small boys from a small town in Connecticut are choosing independently of one another to show up at the same place at the same time is there's something special there. So, listen, we'll definitely have to do a follow-up podcast when we're both back from Japan, and we will just pop off for 2 hours about everything we did, because it sounds like the plan. In fact, I am so jazzed up that this tip of the hat, wag of the finger segment doesn't even get a wag of the finger. No wags, just tips today.
No wags.
Zero wag, nothing to wag about today, because we're getting hype. We're getting hype because we're going to Japan.
That's crazy. Wow.
Unless you really had one that you wanted to share, then you can rip.
I always, my back pockets are full, brother. You know that. I'm always bitching about something.
Loaded with
Um,
wag.
I got a dog's tail behind me just going like this all the
Woo!
time. But in the spirit of our excitement, only tips today. No wags.
No wags. Just a nice little tip. Tony, I got a question for you.
Hey!
What video games have you been playing lately?
Ooh, ooh, ooh. I started playing the Pokemon trading card game again.
Nice.
I ran through Earthbound for the first time all the way through a few months ago. I started playing some Sega Saturn games. Not Sega Saturn, what am I talking about? 32X games like Knuckles Chaotix.
Oh, cool.
Um, just trying to, I'm still obsessed with Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon Go, but I tried to really make it a point this year to um, play other games and branch out and learn about consoles that I don't know too much about. And I
Yeah.
remember you and I, in talking about this podcast, you wanted a list of all the games that I've played. So I've not only kept that list, but I'm now like adding to it
Oh, heck yeah.
consistently. And yeah, and just trying to go through all the games that I've played and add to and star which ones I've beaten, and played some Halo Master Chief Collection. Big tip of the hat to you for just being like, yeah, you need an Xbox One, you could just use mine. And I've literally like put together like a 20 or 30 game collection for Xbox
Oh,
One.
wow. Nice.
Um, between Mafia and Red Dead and some Dragon Ball games, like 4 Dragon Ball games. I've really been trying to branch out. Some new Need for Speeds, I guess you could call them new. They're not that new, but yeah, you single handedly, without knowing it, really like opened my video game explorations a lot and letting me dig back into Microsoft stuff. So yeah, a lot of stuff, a big
Cool.
plethora of stuff, and I've been gaming like a monster.
I
What
love
about
that.
you?
Love that. Lately, I've been playing a little game called Pokemon Infinite Fusion. It's a ROM hack where you play through like Kanto. It kind of follows like a Fire Red Leaf type story beat, but you're able to combine two Pokemon together to create like fusions of Pokemon. So
Yeah, that sounds crazy.
it's pretty fun. So like all like the trainers have like updated Pokemon with a bunch of fusion characters. Like I just beat the Elite Four, but once you beat the Elite Four, you get to go through Johto, kind of like a reverse Heart Gold Soul Silver situation. So excited to rip through that. But like one of the Pokemon I got early in the game was I started with Squirtle, but you're able to get like a Bellsprout early. So I have a Blastoise Victory Bell combo that is like pretty fun. And they're always adding new sprites, so the sprite work is like really cool, really interesting, and it's not even like an emulator. It's like its own like EXE. So it's just like a fun little jam, and I've been having a blast with it. Also been playing a little Yakuza 0. Trying to learn Japanese, trying to get used to the neighborhoods, because one of the areas in Yakuza 0 is where we're going to be staying together at our hotel. So
that's insane.
So if I'm not an expert in knowing that area, then I'll have failed Yakuza. Oh man.
Hopefully this game is the closest we get to Yakuza in our lives.
I don't know. They do some cool dancing and karaoke, and I hope we get to live that life. I hope we get to dance and karaoke a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, karaoke. I can karaoke.
A little karaoke here and there. Never hurt.
Do you want to give me a little taste of what you're working on for karaoke for when we get there?
I low-key kind of want to just let it be a surprise, because I've got like 3 or 4 songs cooking. I'm just like, I'm nervous because I feel like the catalogs for the music out there are not gonna match necessarily the catalogs for the music in here.
Yeah, well, Frankie Valli probably didn't make it over there.
Yeah, I don't know if Sherry Baby is hit yet in Japan.
If it ain't hitting then, I don't think it's hitting now, brother.
Woo! You hate to see it, but more importantly, you hate to hear it.
Great song. Jersey Boys, stand up.
Hey, listen, it's a great musical, Jersey Boys. Not gonna lie. Fun movie. Fun flick.
Good movie.
I enjoyed it. I think that's gonna do it for today's episode of the Games of Our Lives podcast. Tony, I want to thank you for just seamlessly just dropping back in. Felt like you never left. I really appreciate you being on the show. Please go follow Tony on TikTok if you're not already, at Tony Jackpots. He is the arcade game maestro, winning prizes and grabbing little plushies by the brajol on a weekly basis here. You can follow the show at Games of Our Lives. We are available on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. If you want to give us a nice little 5-star review on Apple, that would be much appreciated. Really helps the show. You can also follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Games of Our Pod. And you can follow me, Bill, at Bill the Fajita, both here on Twitch, on Twitter, and on YouTube. Tony, do you have any parting words for the people?
Thanks for having me back. I really hope everyone enjoyed today's episode, and I sincerely hope you're all doing well. Spread peace and spread love.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Take care now.
Sayonara.